We would ask that when you come up to use those microphones, please do not touch them. We'll be watching if in case you forget and you adjust it or whatever, we'll need to sanitize it as well. There will be an opportunity not only for those questions, but I'm going to just take the liberty of volunteering those who are on the program today. If you want to catch them in an individual interview or whatever, we can try and accommodate that as well. So with that, we'll begin our program. It's an exciting day for Kentucky, and it's even more exciting for Kentucky tourism. I'm Mike Berry. I'm the Secretary of the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And today we come together with our partners to celebrate the Commonwealth's latest effort to build a stronger Kentucky through economic and tourism development, two things that go very much hand in hand. Now, before I introduce our first speaker, we have some special guests that are in the audience with us today, and I'd like to recognize them. One of my compatriots and the Governor Johnson, Secretary Johnson, if you would wave, there she is. She is the Secretary of the Finance and Administration Cabinet. We're also pleased to be in the hall of our host today, the President and CEO of Kentucky Venues, the Kentucky State Fair Board, David Beck. Thank you, David, for hosting us today. We have with us one of our tourism partners, the President and CEO of Louisville Tourism, the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Louisville, Karen Williams. We're also pleased to have with us the Investor Development Manager for GLI, the Chamber of Commerce of Metro Louisville, Jordan Clemens. Jordan, thank you for being with us today. Through a Kentucky Kingdom, the Kentucky State Fair Board, the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, and the Finance and Administration Cabinet, Kentucky has established an exciting new partnership that will position the tourism industry and Kentucky Kingdom Park for a long-term economic success. Under the leadership of Governor Beshear, Kentucky continues to attract new industries and build partnerships that encourage existing companies to grow and expand in the Commonwealth. Today is an example of that leadership and his administration's unwavering commitment to build a stronger Kentucky through long-term relationships that create jobs and generate revenue. The Beshear administration understands the value of tourism, an industry that brings over $11.8 billion in economic impact to the Commonwealth. And here in Louisville, tourism serves as the third largest industry in our community. It is my honor to welcome our governor to share details about this exciting new endeavor for Kentucky, and this will place the Commonwealth on a path for a brighter future and further strengthen our tourism economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the 63rd governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear.
Good morning. It is an exciting morning in the Commonwealth. This is one of those days that we haven't had enough of in the past 11 months and a couple weeks. A day where we get up and we can clearly see the future, a future beyond this pandemic. I'm excited to be here today at Kentucky Venues and their facilities. Let me start by complimenting them on both how this press conference is being held, but also in the safe manner that they are holding events on these premises these past months. There is also, for anyone who wants to see it, one of the best vaccination clinics over at Broadbent in this entire country. Made the front page of some of the most widely circulated newspapers. And so thank you to Kentucky Venues for being such a great host. We are here today to mark an exciting announcement for Kentucky and Kentucky tourism. In spite of the many challenges that we have faced together in our war against COVID-19, we've been careful and purposeful to never stop investing, to never stop looking towards the future, knowing that not only is there going to be a day beyond this pandemic, but that the economy is going to be different, which means there is going to be more opportunity if we are willing to be bold, to grab onto those opportunities, and to make partnerships moving forward. As you've heard me say many times, we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. But what we're going to do as we're getting through it is build a big, bright future where there are so many opportunities for our kids and our kids' kids that this pandemic to them just becomes another memory. As your governor, my commitment to attracting new business to the Commonwealth while expanding our existing relationships has never wavered. And that is why I'm pleased today to announce a new partnership with Georgia-based Herschend Family Entertainment, the nation's largest family-owned theme attractions and entertainment company. Herschend has, Herschend has an impressive history of delivering world-class entertainment experiences to its guests at popular tourism attractions like Dollywood Parks and Resorts in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and the Newport Aquarium in northern Kentucky. Every year, Herschend entertains more than 14 million guests at 25 properties in 8 states. As we were talking up here earlier, I said this is a partnership that takes a good foundation, a good attraction, and turns it into an international destination to bring people in to see the finest of Kentucky and to spend their time both at the park and in our community. And this company is soon going to expand its business operations in the Commonwealth as the majority partner and operator of Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay, an amusement and water park located just adjacent to us here at the fairgrounds in Louisville. This is a 65-acre entertainment campus. Kentucky Kingdom includes a collection of amusement rides and the Hurricane Bay Water Park. Originally opened to the public in 1987, I remember it well because the day before it opened, then Lieutenant Governor Steve Beshear got to bring his 2 kids to come see the park. I was here the day before it opened, and I'm proud to be here today in what I think is a transformational announcement that's going to help us take it to the next level. This park is located in a perfect location. The intersection of 65 and 264 make it easily accessible to those that would come from Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Lexington, Nashville, and St. Louis. But I think we're going to hear more today, later, from our mayor about new options to attract people from all over this country, and we hope all over the world. Hershend's vision for the entertainment complex will build upon Kentucky Kingdom's solid reputation while creating an enhanced guest experience that will delight multiple generations of families. Kentucky's ability to attract investment from nationally recognized companies like this demonstrates our commitment to building a better Kentucky and shows what a bright future we have ahead of us. This is just an example of the types of titans in the industry that are looking right now at Kentucky, are seeing a big, bright future, are seeing our ability to create jobs of the future, are seeing a hungry workforce that can help them reach success, and are seeing a state government that wants to partner, because we know that good jobs in your company are good jobs for our families. Tourism is an $11.8 billion business in the Commonwealth and the 3rd largest sector in Louisville, generating an annual economic impact of $3.5 billion. Herschend is a proven innovator and leader in this industry, and we are thrilled they recognize the potential that Kentucky has to offer. I think this is the first day of an amazing partnership, a partnership between this community, a partnership between the state, a partnership between these 2 great entities. And I think we all see what a special opportunity that this is. And that's why the state was very active and involved in these negotiations. I want to make sure that I thank Steve Wilson, the head of our fair board, who is right over here, for his determination in seeing this deal happen, in recognizing the opportunity, and in seeing the future. Now, we're going to defeat this virus, and we're going to defeat it this year. I'll say that again because it feels really good. We're going to defeat this virus, and we're going to defeat it this year. And look at where we are today and everything we have to look forward to moving forward. It's a big, bright day for Kentucky. It's one of those days where we are truly building the better Kentucky that we all want and that I want for my family and for yours. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Governor. Herschend Enterprises is a family of companies with the collective goal of bringing families closer together by creating memories worth repeating. I think you'll hear that phrase many times over the next several months. The company operates popular tourism attractions throughout the nation that collectively entertain more than 14 million guests annually. We are excited to have Herschend CEO Andrew Wexler with us today. Wexler joined Herschend Enterprises in 2007 as Chief Financial Officer, and after 8 years of service in this pivotal role, he took the helm as Chief Executive Officer in 2015. In 2019, Wexler was named one of Atlanta's most admired CEOs by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. Let's give a big Kentucky welcome to our new partner and CEO of Herschend Enterprises, Andrew Wexler.
Thank you, Secretary Barry. Thank you, Governor Beshear. We're honored to have you here join us for the announcement today. This is an exciting moment, and I'm honored to be representing Herschend Enterprises here in this historic town, beautiful town, Louisville. And we want to continue the exceptional 30-year legacy of Kentucky Kingdom. Now, for those of you who don't know Herschend, haven't had the opportunity to get to know us, we're a small family-owned business. Started in 1950 as a cave tour in the Ozark Mountains, but is now known as Silver Dollar City. That cave tour grew into a major regional theme park, and the business grew into one of the major theme park operators in the country. Our signature brands include Dollywood. I mentioned Silver Dollar City. We also own the Harlem Globetrotters, so we're able to bring smiles to people around the world. And we own Kentucky's own Newport Aquarium. Our purpose as an entity is to bring families closer together. That's why we exist. And we think Kentucky Kingdom is going to be a great location, a great opportunity for us to live our vision. We achieve that vision by creating memories worth repeating. Now, we acquired Newport Aquarium in 2008, and one thing that we've learned since then is Kentucky is a great state for business. And we feel blessed to work alongside great partners and the incredible legacy that Ed and his partners have created with Kentucky Kingdom. But we're also going to work alongside the community and our season pass holders and the valued guests, because we want to build an incredible attraction here. And the partnership between our two entities here at Kentucky Kingdom is a perfect match. From our wholesome family values and the passion to bring joy to community and families. Another reason we like to grow and expand our business is because we like to evangelize our culture. Our culture is based on love. We call it leading with love. And what that's about is making sure that we're taking care of each other, that we have each other's back. And that extends beyond just each other in the company, our employees. It's also our guests and the communities in which we serve. It means that we want to make sure we're taking care of the people that impact us. You know, the Herschend family wants to be family held forever, wants this company to be family held forever. That's a long time. If I have to worry about a forever time horizon, I have to make sure that our business is sustainable. And the only way it can be sustainable is if everybody wins. Not just the Herschends, not just the employees, not just the guests, but everybody, the community, and all stakeholders. In fact, you hear a lot of buzz in the press now about stakeholder capitalism. Well, I've been blessed as CEO that I've been working for owners that have been doing stakeholder capitalism since the 1950s. It's not just a new buzzword for them. It's the way they do business. And it's the way we'll be doing business here in Louisville. And so we're excited to be involved with different programs to make sure the community is stronger and add value. So in closing, I just want to reinforce that we're wholeheartedly committed in leveraging our capabilities, our experience to reopen the park in this spring, this May, to ensure that it's continues the high quality, continues to be the incredible park that provides this community with a great place to come together, for families to come together. Now, with that in mind, I'd like to invite Craig Ross, Dollywood's president for the past 10 years, to the podium. He's been doing an incredible job for us leading Dollywood and for decades, creating environments and experiences that allow families to come together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wexler. Ed Hart has a long and distinguished career as an entrepreneur with a focus on the successful turnaround of high-profile theme parks. Following its reopening in 1990, Kentucky Kingdom, under Hart's guidance, became the fastest-growing theme park in the country and the #1 paid tourist attraction in Kentucky, with attendance increasing from 137,000 to more than 1.2 million in just 8 seasons. In recognition of this success, Hart received Louisville's Entrepreneur of the Year award. Over the years, Ed Hart has been committed to ensuring the park was successful and has been a dedicated partner to the tourism industry. Please join me in welcoming Kentucky Kingdom's Ed Hart.
Governor, Mayor, thank you so much for being here this morning and putting your stamp of approval on this transaction. We really appreciate it. Andrew, thank you also for flying in. And thank you and good morning to you all. The birth and development of Kentucky Kingdom has been my passion since we first opened the park over 30 years ago. And then again, 8 years ago, when we signed a lease with the Kentucky State Fair Board. Governor, as you know, your dad, Governor Steve Beshear, was instrumental in reopening the park many years ago, so it's only fitting that you're here today to welcome a new generation of leadership and innovation for Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay. As the proud founder and CEO of Kentucky Kingdom, it falls on me to ensure that the park is turned over to an organization that can improve and build on our legacy. That organization is Herschend Family Entertainment. Mayor Fischer, it seems like it was yesterday that you stood with me and my partners, Ed Glasscock, Bruce Lunsford, and the Al J. Schneider Company, and Mary Mosley, representing the Al Schneider Company here with us today as well. You stood with us when we reopened Kentucky Kingdom for a second time. And frankly, Greg, it's been quite a grind with COVID surrounding us, and I've certainly aged during that period of time, and Greg, I believe you have too. I think Andy wants to add himself to that group. I'd like to extend a special thanks to my partners. They have never wavered in their commitment and financial support for Kentucky Kingdom, even during COVID. Their commitment enabled my team to build a first-class facility that attracted the attention of one of the world's finest theme park operators. But of course, Herschend is much more than a great operator. Their corporate values and culture are a perfect fit for Kentucky Kingdom. There is no doubt in my mind that Herschend will take Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay to the next level. And Mr. Mayor, I know that Herschend will pick up where we left off regarding participation in your signature Summer Works program, which is so important to the youth of this community. Of course, the support of Kentucky Kingdom is a result of a solid partnership with the state and especially the Kentucky State Fair Board. Andrew, I can assure you that David Beck and his team at Kentucky Venues will support you 100%. And Chairman Wilson, thank you for seeing this transaction through. For me personally, I certainly understand that all good things come to an end. It's been the opportunity and joy of a lifetime to lead Kentucky Kingdom not once, but twice. That said, I'm very excited and pleased to leave the park in the capable hands of Craig Ross, Kentucky Kingdom's new general manager. Craig and I have worked together over the past several months, and I assure you, and believe me, Craig has the right stuff. I really look forward to seeing the park under Craig's direction and Hershend's stewardship reach its full potential. We laid the foundation, and we're so pleased to watch Herschend build upon it. Thank you very much. This should be an exciting next chapter.
Craig Ross was recently promoted to the role of Chief Operating Officer of the Herschend Growth and Opportunity Group. Craig is a theme park industry veteran, having worked in the industry for his entire professional career, expanding nearly 40 years. Craig's experience includes a variety of senior leadership roles, including both property-based and corporate positions across the United States, while working for multiple large and sophisticated theme park operators, including King's Entertainment Company, Paramount Parks, Cedar Fair, and of course, Herschend Entertainment. We are excited to welcome Craig to Kentucky and believe his experience will play a critical role in elevating the park to newfound success. Please join me in welcoming Craig Ross.
Good morning. So good to see everybody. Appreciate this opportunity to be with you. Jefferson, I think I'll make my remarks and then maybe we'll run the Herschend video afterwards. Does that sound good? Really just want to start off by saying what an honor it is for me personally to have this opportunity to build upon the 30-year legacy that Ed and his partners have created here. And I've gotten throughout all of this and the time that we've spent together a new friend and a man that I certainly respect and care for. So just really a privilege to be stepping in your shoes, Ed, and taking everything to the next level. And that's what we're here to do. We are literally here to take a great park located in a great city and make it even better for everyone in this community. And as I was thinking about my comments this morning, I thought, well, there's probably a handful of goals that would be nice to express, just to talk about what that means for us as we look forward. First of all, number one, we want to transition at excellence. We want to be very thoughtful in how we move ahead. We want to reassure our pass holders. I'm already taking note of all the digital and social media that's going on. What happens to my season pass? Do my benefits roll over? I want to reassure all of our season pass holders that all of the plans for 21 remain the same. Your passes are good. And if you haven't purchased a pass, we look forward to seeing you at the park this year. That, along with all of the benefits that they've been realizing and that they will realize moving forward. So just really important that we do that. The other one I noticed in social media was cinnamon bread. So we're going to have to figure out a way, if any of you have ever visited Dollywood, that's a really popular food item. So the chatter is already burning up. We'll work to find a way to get cinnamon bread into Kentucky Kingdom. But you will see that we will really listen carefully and get to know the market. We're going to be asking folks living here and our guests that have visited before and those that have not what they would like to see in improvements and changes at Kentucky Kingdom. And in fact, one of the first things that we'll do is kick off a very robust 5-year plan to really lay out for the next 5 years What are all the opportunities and improvements and the different things that we can do to attract more people to this great park? But we're going to be hitting the ground running. I looked this morning on the calendar. We're down to 10 weeks. And there's a lot of work that has to happen in a theme park over the course of the winter to get it ready to open. So thinking about all that work, number 2 goal is to be a really great place to work for really great people. And one of the first things that Ed told me is how proud he was of his team and his managers. And I just want to recognize those that are with us here this morning, our leadership team here to our right. I'm the only outsider in the room here. These are all very experienced, talented, professional theme park operators. I really look forward to working with each and every one of them and to creating opportunities for them too, because now they're part of a much bigger organization. Talking more about people, it's really many parks end up being the first job for hundreds and hundreds of kids every year. And that story actually holds true for me at the age of 15, spinning cotton candy at King's Dominion in Virginia. So we as a company just have a really great heart for taking talented, hardworking people and making really great and strong leaders out of them. So again, I want to echo how important the Summer Works program is and how much we're going to work to, again, build off of the legacy that Ed and his team have accomplished in parents trusting their kids working at the park and really creating the future leaders of tourism and industry for tomorrow. It's very important to us. Also talking about people, and this is something that's kind of new with Herschend being involved now, we have a team of about 100 folks back in Atlanta that we refer to as not our corporate office, but as our property support center. And so each of our leaders within each of their individual disciplines will have a fleet of folks available to support them to carry their body of work to the next level. And it's really worked extremely well for us. We're able to tap into the talents of folks that otherwise, as a single standalone park, are not likely and are not feasible. So I really want to welcome the Herschend folks to the Louisville market, and you'll be seeing a lot of them. Our food folks were in yesterday doing food testing. It was unfortunate. We were planning for today's meeting and couldn't taste any of the good food, but we're already at work leveraging the talents of our Herschend folks all along. So for the park, what's in store for the park? Well, I mentioned the 5-year plan, and we do open in 10 weeks. And so we've got a lot of work to do just to get the park open, but we're going to go to work immediately to determine where we want to go with making Kentucky Kingdom a bigger and better and greater park. And for me, that will fall into a couple of categories. We want to broaden the appeal of the park, and we want to expand the brand. So what does that mean? Extended season would likely broaden the appeal of the park. Families are spending time a lot differently these days. Think about how you spend your own summer and how time-starved you are to fit in that family vacation with all of the other things that are going on. Herschend has learned through the performance of our other properties that families and school calendars and behaviors are all much different, and therefore the fall and Christmas season end up becoming great times to connect families together. So look for us to consider opportunities to expand the season, also to broaden the appeal. Folks are living longer, and younger kids are almost like little adults at the age of 3. And so you'll see that we'll be very intentional in the attractions and the new experiences that we bring to bear, being very thoughtful about things that families can do together, albeit grandparents all the way down to pre-K and the like. Thrill rides are really important. They're the lifeblood of our business. But rides that families can enjoy together, likewise, are critically important. Shows, live shows and entertainment in the form of shows themselves, but also as festivals and events throughout the year. Look to us to implement those throughout the season. Remarkable decor. Anytime we bring a festival or an event onto the park, the food offerings change, the retail offerings change, the planning within the park everything about the park changes during these events. It takes on a whole new life. Remarkable culinary experiences, not just cinnamon bread, but many other forms of food. And I don't know about you, but I love to eat my way through a theme park. So we'll be providing plenty of opportunities for folks to do that. All these things will take the form of the work that we'll be doing here immediately through our creative studios team that's based at Herschend. Designers and developers have already been on property, and we're beginning to formulate those plans. Number 4, we really feel it's critically important to encourage and invite more people to visit not only Kentucky Kingdom, but Louisville and the state of Kentucky. We'll look to form new partnerships and really strengthen the ones that are already in place to bring folks here. We'll actually even have a dedicated travel tourism marketing plan, not just one plan, but one that really focuses on how do we draw more new people into the city. We love this market, we love the city and all that it stands for, and so we really look forward to working with everyone in the days to come to build upon those plans. And the partnerships and all of that come along with it. Not to mention how much we appreciate the partnerships and the support that we already enjoy from the community. So in closing, the future's bright. I want to thank you in advance for your support and your warm welcome. I can't wait to see everyone on the park in your comfortable shoes. And let's go ahead and roll the video. This is a highlight reel for Herschend Enterprises. So sit back and enjoy some of the things that I mentioned you may find in the video.
Thank you, Craig. And while that cinnamon bread sounds like a good idea, don't be surprised if you get some requests here in Kentucky for bourbon sauce to go over the top of it. Known as the home of Muhammad Ali, the Kentucky Derby, Louisville Slugger, baseball, Maker's Mark, and more, Louisville is the largest city in America to be designated as an international compassionate city. Mayor Fischer and his team have been committed to shaping the city of Louisville into one that prides itself on Southern hospitality and strives to be a city that is welcoming and inclusive to all guests. The expansion of Herschend will continue to elevate the city's reputation as being a top travel destination for families to enjoy. Louisville is known internationally for world-class tourism attraction and events, and we are excited to work closely with the city and Louisville tourism to continue to bring opportunities like this to the city. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Greg Fischer.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everybody. A lot has been said up here today, so I just want to add my thanks to the Governor, Steve Wilson, Kentucky Fair Board, everybody for getting this done, and to Ed Hart and the fellow entrepreneurs that he has pulled together to make this such a dream for so many people over the years. And Ed, this is how it's supposed to work. You know, when you put something together over decades, and you guys have been relentless in terms of making Kentucky Kingdom a place of excellence. But the job of a great leader is to make sure when it's time for them to leave is to pass it on to somebody else that's going to make it even greater. And that's what Ed has done with his team here, Ed Glasscock and others, with teaming up with Herschend. And it's just wonderful to see a story like this happen. And that's what good hard work is all about. We've talked about how valuable the kingdom is to our tourism sector here, but this has been so important in another way because the kingdom is oftentimes the first job for so many of our young people in our community that may not have a connection to get a job somewhere else. Since reopening the park in 2014, Kentucky Kingdom has been one of our biggest employer partners, a signature partner in our Summer Works program. And we put that together so kids could experience the joy of work and what it's like to get that first paycheck. Everybody remembers that. So with Kentucky Kingdom leading the way on that, it's transformed the leadership opportunities for thousands and thousands of kids in our city. And to the Herschend team, I thank you all, Craig and Andrew, for your commitment to keeping that going. And just a commercial to Louisville's youth, we got 1,200 jobs to fill over here, okay? So there's plenty of opportunities. If you're wondering what you're going to be doing this summer, please take a look at the Kentucky Kingdom opportunity. To the Herschend team, you know, for me as the mayor, when you think about a transaction and a transition of an asset that's so valuable like Kentucky Kingdom, it's a cause for concern, depending on who's going to take that. But as Ed and Craig talked to me about the Herschend, and of course I was very well aware of them, all right, I couldn't think of a better partner for us because of the proximity of so many of their attractions that they have, and the values that they have as a company are exceptional. How many CEOs of a major company come to the podium and talk about love? Not a lot. You're a good man for doing that. In this time of strife in the world, we should all remember that's what we should start with: love, kindness, compassion, and then all these other differences should be secondary. So I really commend you for that, and I commend Herschend on their company value. It's right there: leading with love, being patient, kind, humble, respectful, trusting, unselfish, forgiving, truthful, and dedicated. So imagine a world where everybody lived those values. Things would be going a lot better. But we can never give up on that as well. So we need corporate partners to lead the way and use their pulpits to share those values, just as we have, being declared an international model city of compassion 5 years in a row. Herschend's also a leader in sustainability. Never been more important for companies to show that the bottom line and sustainability are complementary. They go hand in hand. So with yesterday's announcement of the Louisville Extreme downtown, today there's 3 major economic development announcements happening in the city before noontime. It gives me great hope. It has been a tough year through the pandemic and other challenges, but to see people coming and announcing their investment in the city of Louisville, we had a great momentum until the pandemic hit, but now we're going to be one of the first cities to recover as well. And this announcement from Herschend today is a very important step in that journey. So thank you to you guys, Ed. Again, thank you to you all, and everybody have a great day and stay strong, Louisville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Kentucky Kingdom opened to the public in 1987 following a decision by the Kentucky State Fair Board to build a family amusement park in the Commonwealth. Today, that same Fair Board remains committed to ensuring the success of the park and understands the value that the park brings to our tourism and local economies. As chairman of the State Fair Board, Steve Wilson, as well as his fellow board members, some of which are here today, David Beck, Karen Williams, there may be some others, have been committed to ensuring that Kentucky Kingdom is positioned for success by fostering community partnerships that have positioned Louisville to be a premier travel destination. The Kentucky State Fair Board is determined to ensure the Commonwealth's entertainment and travel industry continues to grow. Please join me in welcoming Steve Wilson, Chairman of the Kentucky State Fair Board.
Thank you, Secretary Barry. Governor, I share your comments about what an exciting day it is today. You know, change is often difficult to think about. And when we first heard about this possible deal, we didn't know who the buyer was. And some of us were overtaken with that fear of the unknown. And unfortunately, sometimes that we start a negotiation or an idea, oh, we don't know what's happening, what might happen. But the moment we found out who the new partner was, it was a breath of fresh air. The idea that Dollywood was coming, the people of Dollywood were coming here, the Herschend family. It was such a relief and such an exciting thought about what would happen in the future that we had a unanimous vote yesterday at the Fair Board meeting to support this deal and to open our arms to the new partner at Kentucky Kingdom. I know I speak for David Beck and the staff here. We're really looking forward to working with this new company and to the exciting changes that are being talked about. As I close the program here, I want to say I don't think enough can be said for Ed Beck. Ed Hart. Ed, as a fellow entrepreneur, I know that it's often very difficult to get a new idea off the ground. This Kentucky Kingdom is a wonderful place that Ed had in his mind before we even knew what it was, a place where families can come and enjoy a time, and a place where young people can work, as you've heard. So I don't think enough can be said for that moment, that the thought pattern that happens when Ed first dreamed of this place, and we're all looking forward to what it's going to become. Thank you for all that. So thank you all for coming. We really are looking forward to the future. I'll turn it back over to you, Secretary Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Herschend's decision to expand its operations in the Commonwealth is a reflection of the state's reputable tourism industry and the commitment of this administration to move Kentucky forward by investing in tourism and economic development. We look forward to being a partner with Herschend to promote their vision for a newly reimagined attraction that will create a multi-generational experience that visitors across the nation will travel to Kentucky to enjoy. I want to thank Governor Beshear, Mayor Fischer, Herschend executives, Ed Hart and his team, and the team at Kentucky Kingdom, and the hardworking professional staff here at Kentucky Venues, many of which you are seeing here today, for your commitment to the tourism industry here in Kentucky. I also want to thank our partners in the audience who joined us today to celebrate this exciting expansion, and those who will play a critical part of our partnership as we focus on future success of the park and our economy. Your commitment is a sign that success lies ahead for Louisville and Kentucky tourism. Now we're going to open up the floor for questions from the media. Again, you're welcome to use these two microphones here. And we will also have media availability with Herschend representatives and community leaders following the conclusion of this Q&A. Does anyone wish to take advantage of the Q&A portion? We have our first victim.
Lexi Ratterman with WDRB News. I think this would probably be a question more so for Craig as he kind of went through the 5-year plan. Can you talk a little more about what people may notice, more specifically this coming summer, those pass holders that go every year? You know, will they notice any specific differences this summer or this year?
that's a very fair and reasonable question. I think with 10 weeks out to go before we open, we're focused on the opening of the park. I think we'd want to reassure all of our pass holders that what they've come to know and expect in their privileges and their experiences at the park will continue to be the case. We are bringing back the Sea Lion show. There was some debate for that. I know that that's a big favorite. We're evaluating other forms of entertainment and some things that we could do to get a little bit of a test and to get a sense of how guests feel about it. We're going to go out immediately and start to ask a lot of questions and to get some community input and feedback. We've already had our teams through the property. One that I'm really proud of is a group that we have of in-house designers and developers that we refer to as our creative studio. So they've already started to do some work to begin to think about how we could bring the park to the next level and bring it to life. I think that Louisville itself has a lot of great assets that we would want to celebrate. I know that Ed's done that in the past as well. But you know, this is the fun part, honestly. But given the fact that we have about 10 weeks before we open and a few months that we've been working on this, we're just really ready to go to get that done. And we've got a lot of good people working on it. And I look forward to getting a lot of good feedback from folks. But we'll move as quickly as we possibly can to start to demonstrate that. You know, new things to see and do in our business are the lifeblood of this. And so that's critical. And that's not at all lost on us or in terms of how we approach all of our properties. We're thinking of and introducing new things all the time. And that's where I get all the joy from this, from just working and playing with it, like designing your own home. So we look forward to that work.
And another question while you're still up there, Mr. Ross. Kentucky Kingdom, we've talked a lot about those seasonal jobs, those kids in high school. I grew up here, had a lot of friends who had those same jobs. But for those who aren't seasonal, those full-time employees, management positions, are those people likely going to stay where they are? I know there were a lot of talks of layoffs and things over the pandemic.
Yeah, so very near on, we reorganized slightly, but for the most part, we're intact with exactly the same group of folks that we had before. They know the park. They know what they do extremely well. A good number of them will be receiving promotions within the role that they have. Their areas of responsibility will align a little bit differently so that they can connect well with their counterpart with Herschend. So they'll have someone at Herschend in Atlanta to help support them in their role. The biggest thing about all of that for me is the opportunity to progress within the organization. This will be my 7th stop in my career. And each and every time I've had a chance to go to a different property and be in a different role, I've had the opportunity to re-engineer myself, recreate myself, and grow and develop even further. So we're really big on that. The ratio of leaders to employees is about 1 to 10. So out of every 10 folks, we're looking to create that leadership opportunity for everybody. The door is wide open with all that we have going on for that. Likewise, for other folks to come into the community and be part of our team here too.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm going to keep you up there too, actually.
Greg.
I was going to piggyback off of that question and just what can people expect as far as obviously we're still in the pandemic and then the change in leadership as well. Will there be anything kind of pending the pandemic, or what is this reopening maybe looking like while planning as a new company during a pandemic?
So we're going to follow the same plan that Ed and his team implemented. My understanding is they work directly with the governor's office to advance and lead that plan. In this line of business, and it gets said often, but I can't overemphasize it enough, safety is the very most important thing that we do. And so if moms do not trust and we don't build the trust in the community of safety, that's critical. So we will do everything that we need to do to get through the pandemic. I look out every day from my window at the office at the park, and I'm watching the vaccinations go along, and I think the word is positive. We plan to open on May 8th. That's a couple of weeks later than normal, just in some consideration of the timing that we did that. But we'll continue to do the things. We have a very sophisticated safety group that will complement the very sophisticated safety group that's here at Kentucky Kingdom to make sure that we're doing all of the standard things and the protocols. I think part of life in all this and the challenge has been getting outdoors and moving around and being with friends is also part of a healthy life as well. And I think we feel like we can do both well. We can protect folks from COVID, but also allow them to get out and spend time together.
Thank you. Question here?
Yes, and we'll probably keep him up there one more time. As far as marketing wise for Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay, I think the name Kentucky Kingdom has obviously been a point of pride for people here in Louisville and in Kentucky. There's been a few names up there. Can they expect any type of name change either now or in the years to come from your guys' end?
Well, I think that the name is an awesome name, both the Commonwealth name and the word Kingdom and Hurricane Bay as well. They're all great names. If something were to surface throughout our process and the research, we would consider those things. But I would like to think about it as we'll bring more names to the equation. You'll be hearing more about Kentucky Kingdoms knew this or Kentucky Kingdoms knew that. Again, the park enjoys a really great reputation. If you go out and look at what guests say about their visit here, they have good things to say. Herschend, and we're really proud of ours too. We watch that very closely to ensure that we're leading, and we are a leading group in terms of that. We have very high standards. We'll work with the folks in the park to honor the name and to continue to do that. But I really feel like the more important thing that we do is tell our story to more people and encourage more people to visit Kentucky Kingdom for what they know that it is and that it offers.
And secondly, could we expect more trips from the Harlem Globetrotter to Freedom Hall?
Well, I have to turn to this one over here and ask him about that. But as soon as things are able to support that activity, they're raring to go. And, I can't blame you for wanting to see them because they're awesome, just awesome. We're proud to have them part of the company.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I had another question I don't think, is Governor Beshear still here or someone from?
No, he had a White House COVID task force call.
No problem. Well, maybe someone with Kentucky Kingdom can answer this, but it was, were there any other offers or other deals? Did Herschend come to the table on this, and what would have been the alternative? I know obviously the state is spending a lot of money on COVID. What would have been the alternative had this deal not gone through?
When we finish our sanitization here, we'll let Ed Hart answer that question. Thank you.
There's very few owner-operated parks left in North America. So we were approached by a number of other operators, national operators, inquiring over the last couple of years about purchasing Kentucky Kingdom. And we considered some of those, but you have to make sure, as I mentioned in my comments, you have to pass the baton on to somebody you really believe can build on your legacy. So although we had those offers, I reached out to Herschend. As a matter of fact, our general counsel had a relationship with Herschend's general counsel because they're both on a number of the industry legal roundtables. And when our general counsel called Herschend's general counsel, they passed it on to Andrew almost immediately. 24 hours later, I'm on the phone with Andrew, who clearly was showing interest. And then literally 1 or 2 days later, Craig came down the last weekend in September and reviewed the park while we had guests. So I knew right away, their reputation was sound, but I knew right away that their interest and just the way Craig walked through the park, the questions he asked, I knew that was the right deal. And from there, we began the negotiations.
Thank
My
you.
last thing was just you talked about going into the community to get feedback. What can people expect as far as a lot of people are going to see this and want to maybe weigh in? Are you going to be at churches, schools, hold feedback? Will it be online?
So I will be out into the community, and we will look to the digital bloggers and the other platforms that we have. There are a number of them available to us that we will do. I'm accustomed to doing season pass holder focus groups. We'll also set up a moms board is a best practice that we've used in the past to get feedbacks from moms. We'll actually conduct some very in-depth research that will be done professionally to get all of that feedback. And, kind of my number one way to get it is to stand at the front gate, not so much in the morning, but at the end of the day to see how their day was and just sort of stand and greet folks. But thank you for that question, because we do want folks to offer that feedback. And I know folks are anxious to hear, what are we going to change and what will be different? And for 21, that all stays the same with pass holders and all that. It's important to get that word out, but also that we'll be reaching out to talk to our guests to understand what they think the opportunities are here for us. So absolutely. Thank you so much.
We have one more question.
Yeah, I got one for Ed. Just you talked a little bit about the timetable. Just curious how long this was in the works and why was now a good time to just sell and bring in a new buyer?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The last year was a very difficult season, of course. We only operated for half our season. And we fulfilled all our obligations financially. And my partners and I have been very fortunate in life that, we're pretty well healed. And we can put whatever money's necessary to keep the park going. But I don't know if you've noticed, but we're sort of up there in age. All of us are a bit long in the tooth. And I had to stand back and say, I'm concerned about three things. One, I'm concerned about the legacy of the park. Make sure it continues to grow. It hasn't even remotely reached its full potential. This park has done almost 1.4 million people. And in normal circumstances, we do about 800,000 now, what we were building. And we got hit with a couple of very wet summers and then COVID. So to put the right resources into the park to keep it going and to make sure our legacy is fulfilled, I said, maybe now's the time to try to get the right partner. And the second consideration after legacy was to make sure this young team of professional managers that we've nurtured over the last 8 years, the directors and the senior managers, they were seasonal team members 8 years ago. And I'm so proud, and they're back here now, I'm so proud how they grew in their responsibilities. And we wanted to make sure, my partners, myself, that they were with the right company to make sure they had the full opportunity of growth and to excel in their chosen careers. And then third was to get a fair deal. It was the least important of the three criteria. Andrew might have taken advantage of that, I'm not quite sure. But we're very pleased with the financial piece of this as well. And those are the three criteria I established and shared with my partners, and they wholeheartedly concurred. I think that answered your question? Okay.
Okay. Well, with that, we will wrap up this portion of the press conference. As I mentioned, our speakers will be here if you would like to engage them individually. We encourage everybody to stay healthy, stay hopeful, and we look forward to seeing all of you either splashing in Hurricane Bay or on a coaster in Kentucky Kingdom. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. And don't mind me in this little stream over here. We just got done with the live stream here. So I'm just going to go over a couple talking points here, and then we're going to talk about it more on our podcast tonight. So at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, we're going to have our podcast tonight. And we have two special guests joining us tonight. We're very excited. Look for that announcement here within the next couple hours. And it's our new episode of Roller Coaster Therapy. We'll start off talking about this. But I'm just going to go over the talking points kind of that were discussed over here. So, Herschend Family Entertainment is officially going to be the operator owner of Kentucky Kingdom. Ed Hart actually reached out to him. He just said that. Ed Hart actually reached out to Herschend Family Entertainment to see if they would be interested. They looked at it, the possibilities, and they finally worked out a deal. Obviously, that deal was leaked last week. I talked about that in the video yesterday that we released. So we do know that much. And the season passes, if you have Kentucky Kingdom season passes, they are good for this year. They will not be switching over to the new format at this current time. They will be bringing in cinnamon bread. Looks like an extended season will also happen as well. So they're going to have a extended season. Craig Ross, who helped out with Dollywood, is going to be the park general manager. So congratulations on that. That's going to be a good person to help lead Kentucky Kingdom. Looks like Ed Hart's fully on board. He's the one who chose this company. So it's not like this company just came in there and wants to run everything. Ed Hart actually wanted to find a good operator, according to him, and a couple other national operators reached out. I imagine you probably had Six Flags and Cedar Fair reach out, maybe somebody else, and he didn't think that they were good enough for the park. So he was able to reach out and find out that Herschend was interested in it. So we're going to have an extended season. Looks like they're having a design team come in and evaluate the park on what needs to change to fit the model of Herschend Family Entertainment. I don't think those changes will be fully implemented until after the season because they're going to want to, look at different things. So they're going to want to ensure that certain things work with the public. They're going to probably do a lot of surveys to see what the public actually wants. A lot of companies like this do not add anything without the public's input, as we've seen with Silver Dollar City and Dollywood and other parks. On the talking points with Wild Adventures, I know some of you guys asked me that. Wild Adventures is in Valdosta, Georgia, which is in between Atlanta, Georgia, and Tampa and Orlando. Most of the time, and I'm included in this mix, I stop in Atlanta. If I drive, because I live in Orlando right now, I stop in Atlanta. I've driven past Valdosta. Never stopped there. I drive straight to where I'm going. Even when I went on family vacations, I noticed Valdosta. I noticed the signs for Wild Adventures. Never been there. I went straight to Disney World or wherever I was going in Orlando. So that's the reason why that park struggles as much as they do and the conversion over to other things. But we're talking about Kentucky Kingdom now. So I'll talk about more of this, in tonight's, I'll talk about more of this tonight into tonight's live podcast. But Kentucky Kingdom is about 2 hours away from Cincinnati, which has a population of about 2.5 million. Indianapolis, Indiana, a population of 2.5 million. The problem with Cincinnati, a lot of people from Cincinnati will go to, I don't know if they'll keep King Louis. I think King Louis will be fine because it fits the family model. And their Halloween event with all their different characters were kind of family friendly, so I don't see why they wouldn't keep that besides the haunted houses, obviously. But Cincinnati has Kings Island. So a lot of people in Cincinnati go to Kings Island. They might occasionally make the trip down to Kentucky Kingdom or Holiday World. But pretty much they're trying to grab, the main population probably from Nashville, from Indianapolis, primarily Indianapolis. Indianapolis has almost, 3 million people in the metro area. So if they could get some of those people to go down there, I think what we saw in the past, they were trying to grab people from Indianapolis and Indiana by offering the 2-day pass, which, in my opinion, probably caused them to lose more money because a lot of people probably took advantage of those 2 days and didn't come back after those 2 days. So the park probably lost money in the long run. I know last year I was getting tickets for $24, and that was just their incentive to try to get people into the park. which the park still was not busy at all. So I think Kentucky Kingdom already has amazing food, and I'm going to talk about this more in the podcast tonight. So 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and we're going to have 2 special guests. I will announce it on like I said, on a post, and you guys will get a notification on YouTube and Facebook about that. It's going to be a special tonight. We're going to be going to Kentucky Kingdom and Cedar Point tonight, so it's going to be a great show. We're looking at about a 2-hour show with our special guests, so we hope that you guys could join in because we're going to talk about this more so when my whole team's here. And okay, so Kentucky Kingdom is a great park. However, over the last couple of years, they've been kind of gearing it more towards roller coaster enthusiasts, which is a great group to gear it towards. But however, most of the people you're trying to attract are locals or out of town visitors. Roller coaster community does not really make up a huge majority. So you have Storm Chaser and Lightning Run that are almost the same exact type of coaster with airtime and stuff like that. Lightning Run doesn't offer inversion. Storm Chaser does, but it's basically the same type of model from the same company, Ride Centerline. Then you have, Kentucky Flyer. You have skateboard roller coaster, T3, which I imagine will not stay that long, and then Thunder Run. I imagine they're going to try to add more family-size attractions, possibly getting rid of some of the flat rides there because the flat rides there do not have a high capacity, which isn't Kentucky Kingdom's fault. You're operating with the money that you're able to get forward. With the new operator that they're having, Herschend Family Entertainment has more money, more capital. As you know, they own the Chuggington franchise. They own the Harlem Globetrotters. They own 9 other places now. I don't know what's going on with Frontier City. I'm still going to go under that rumor and say that Frontier City might be the other park that Herschend plans to take over this operating season from Six Flags because it fits their model, Old West, stuff like that. But I'm not 100% sure on why that point was put on there, which would have put it over at Oklahoma City. However, so we already know Kentucky Kingdom has great food. So they could improve upon that a little bit, probably add a little more food options. Obviously, cinnamon bread's being brought in, so that's going to be another good food options. They hand make all their pretzels from scratch. I love Kentucky Kingdom's food. I cannot diss on their food. They have amazing food. The layout is the only confusing part about the park. I don't know if Herschend's going to be able to go in there and kind of maybe add more signage, more things like that. Definitely more theming. And definitely more signage to get over to where Storm Chaser's at. So I hope we see more theming over there. You might see a couple rides and attractions get moved around so they're more organized into different themed sections. I have a feeling that Kentucky Kingdom is going to turn into more of a theme park over the next 5 years. Obviously, that Craig Ross talked about a 5-year plan. So they have a 5-year plan. Obviously, this is not their first year. Or they might consider this their first year. The first year is usually like last year. We saw that with Staples over at Indiana Beach, where he went in there, kind of evaluated, add a couple new things, but not so much as mainly the standpoint of trying to get operations under control. We might see the same thing over here at Kentucky Kingdom, where they're going to try to get the operations under control, try to voice opinions, maybe add an extended season, kind of like what Indiana Beach did last year, and then they'll bring their new rides and attractions in the upcoming years. So don't expect anything new to come into the park in 2021. I think people should just be happy that Kentucky Kingdom didn't fold under, because what it sounds like is that they might not have had enough money to function in this upcoming season if they didn't find a new operator. And that's not on Ed Hart or anybody like that. You can only do so much with the money that you have set forth. Now, we do know Ed Hart did invest $43 million into the park from 2014 until 2019. And that included, like I said, the additions that you've seen with all the coasters. And I think he's done an amazing job. I would love to see Kentucky Kingdom kind of go to a new main entrance so it's not as confusing, because when you mix what they have now, where you have to enter through these state fairground gates and stuff like that, it's a very confusing thing to me. And I think they need to do more organization and have more signage, like I said, to not be as confusing on how to get into that park. So I think we're going to see a lot of standpoint, like the operations changing. Obviously, advertising is going to change. You probably will see deals, but they're probably going to be 2-day deals, and you're not going to see it at the price point that it was at. Herschend has to basically let the public know that they're under new management, get them excited about it, and put in commercials. What are we offering? New food, new this, new that, new that. Now, obviously, this year, like I said, is more of an evaluation standpoint for Herschend to see where they're at financially, and then they could kind of evaluate and move on from that and invest more or invest less depending on their 5-year plan. 5-year plans is what everybody goes after. Indiana Beach, Staples. I know this is Kentucky Kingdom. I'm just giving examples of how ownership changes. Staples kind of gave an example. He has a 5-year plan. So a lot of these management companies have a 5-year plan. Like I said, usually year one is evaluating everything, seeing where they're at and what needs to be added, what the public wants, stuff like that. Year two is when they start bringing in their measures. So you'll see more of that in 2022 season. Do you think if you're a season pass for Dollywood and the Newport Aquarium and Silver Dollar City get discount tickets? That'll probably be announced at a later time. Steel and Wood Riders, thanks for that question. And I know somebody did mention T3. I hope they do not remove T3. T3 is not a popular ride at Kentucky Kingdom, so if they were to remove any type of coaster there, that would probably be the first one to go. And they're going to evaluate that. Like I said, they're going to survey the public. They're going to find out what they like, what they don't like about the park, and you're going to see those changes implemented. That's what Herschend does to all their parks. You go into their park, you get a survey afterwards. I've filled out many surveys from Herschend Family Entertainment, and they also ask season pass holders and things of that nature. They ask them a variety of different things. What's up, Zach?
Yeah, so apparently I'll have an item class at 1:30 p.m. class.
Oh, okay. So you're able to join for a second then?
Yep.
I was just mentioning them then on our podcast tonight. We're going to have more so of this. But what I mentioned to them, you're going to see a lot of changes implemented in 2022 instead of this year. This year is more of like a turnover management, evaluating the situation, seeing what they could change. Obviously, we already know that according to the new park GM that they're bringing in a design team to evaluate what the layout is, evaluate what's going to stay, what's going to go. But I don't see many changes happening this year because they only have 10 weeks to prep for that. So the only thing I see changes maybe operations, how they train their employees, things like that. Food changes, maybe drink changes. Maybe they get rid of Pepsi and bring in Coke. He wants to expand the brand, meaning that they grow the park. Yeah, that's the thing right now. Like I was talking about, Steel and Wood Riders. Yeah, a lot of people from Indianapolis, a lot of people don't realize it, but I know I lived in Indianapolis for 10 years. Majority of my friends and everybody that I knew either went to Holiday World, they went to, well, now they're going to Indiana Beach, or they went to Kings Island. They didn't really go to Kentucky Kingdom. So it wasn't really like people would take trips down to Louisville, but they weren't going to the park. So what Herschend Family Entertainment needs to do is they need to turn this into a destination park. How do you do that? Well, they have a bunch of little different adventures that you could partner with in the area. So they could partner with, I think it's called Kentucky Down Under. They could partner with them and offer like a combined package where you go to Kentucky Kingdom and you also get that in one. That brings more visitors into the park as well. I wouldn't count on a new coaster anytime soon because, that takes 2 to 3 years to design. They might bring in, I don't know what they're going to do. They might bring in that Raptor model that was originally planned, or that might have been just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that because it's really confusing to me why they would that and tease it and then not happen. So, the financial restraints, according to Ed Hart, this has been going on for a couple of years. This isn't anything new.
Yeah, I think the Raptor might happen after they first get some more family rides.
I don't know if Herschend's going to want to put in 2 RMCs in the same park, though.
True. Or maybe they go Intamin one, who knows? But, they'll do well to park.
You're going to definitely see a change. You're definitely going to see management changes probably changing. If I am the park, and this is just me on the weekends, I'm requiring anybody under the certain age that they have to have a sponsor going into the park to prevent stuff from happening. because Herschend Family Entertainment is going to be dealing with that type of crowd that unfortunately Kentucky Kingdom brings in. So I'm not saying that's the park's fault, because it's not the park's fault, but maybe more security in the park that would prevent a lot of the things like fights and like that. And then obviously we're going to see the park. I don't know. Obviously, if you have more money, you have more money to throw at stuff like that. Less money, you're not going to have money to throw in more security guards, more people, cleaning up the parks, things like that. And obviously last year, from what I'm getting on the articles that I read, a lot of times last season they were operating at 20% capacity from what they normally get crowd-wise, and that had nothing to do with COVID. COVID probably pushed it at like 50% capacity, but it was at 20 or below, according to what the articles that I read on it. So they were really hurting last year. They were basically giving away tickets. So I think, I don't know if you heard me say that, but I paid $25 a ticket to get into the park last
Yeah, it
year.
was cheap. Yeah, it was like $25 one day, and if you want 2 days, like $30. It was way cheap.
I'm trying to figure out how Coaster Studios got a press release on. I don't know where he got it from, because I asked other channels and pages and they didn't get anything from Kentucky Kingdom on that. So I don't know where he found that at, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a release on his end as well finally. But I think we will see a pass. I think Herschend Family Entertainment might create a platinum pass or something like that, or a regional pass, kind of like what they have right now. Who knows?
Yeah,
They're going to
it'd
be
be
evaluating it, so.
yeah, it'd be nice to kind of have like a platinum pass kind of thing that will get us into Kingdom, Dollywood, and Star City.
What are the land options that they could acquire? There's tons of land outside. However, I don't know who owns it, and obviously you would have to have money and capital to do that. Herschend does have that money and capital to do that. I don't think Ed Hart's group had that much money to do that. But still, $43 million worth of investment in 5 years is still a lot of money. But you have to understand they also had to rebound a park that was basically dilapidated when they grabbed it. So even Indiana Beach wasn't in as bad shape as Kentucky Kingdom was when Ed Hart brought it back in 2014. And you remember it took 2 years for them to even open it back up.
So, is there anything that I missed earlier when I was gone, like amount of money they're going to invest in the next 5 years?
The only thing that Ed Hart mentioned was that there was a couple of other national park operators that came forward and were interested in it. However, he did not like them. I imagine it was probably Cedar Fair and Six Flags, which I wouldn't allow them to run the park either.
Six Flags wouldn't have done anything good. They just wouldn't force it on again.
And Ed Hart actually admitted that he reached out to Herschend Family Entertainment and tried to get him interested in the park. So this is an Ed Hart deal. He didn't want to make the same mistake that he did in the 90s by selling it off to somebody who, basically pushed it underneath the rug. Herschend's looking for that park in a major metro area too, because we know, obviously, Silver Dollar City's in Branson, which is a tourist trap, not as bad as Pigeon Forge. And then Dollywood's in Pigeon Forge, so they can do whatever they want down there and charge whatever they want because people are crazy on how money you spend over there.
Yeah, I think that they might need to probably raise the prices a little bit. That would kind of weed out the bad crowd.
Yeah, they said they're gonna keep the current season passes this season. So I imagine after the season, obviously, and I think there was a price fluctuation that happened over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
1 day general admission ticket is $50 now instead of $35, which I disagree with on that. I think that's going to really kill their attendance. But $50 is a lot of money for a park that size.
But why would you buy that when for $5 more you can buy a season pass and get free parking and get it times too? So
true, but for somebody like me who doesn't live up there anymore, a season pass isn't really a good option for me.
Well, I mean, you're probably gonna want 2 days there, and the season pass pays for itself in one visit with the free parking and discounts.
True.
Because parking is $10 and food, you can save like $5 a meal almost. So
Yeah. We're gonna stay on here for a couple more minutes, guys. Probably till wow, it's already 10 o'clock in the morning. Man, my whole day is gone already. I'm glad we were able to provide that to you guys, though. If you guys get a chance, you guys want to look at the talking points and the press conference questions, all you have to do is go back into the live feed. I apologize for there was a couple of moments where it kind of glitched. For some reason, my router wasn't pushing out the signal to my laptop where I was sitting at like it should. As soon as I moved to another spot in my place, it's been fine the whole time. I didn't see any glitching or anything like that. I need to get a new router so that stops doing that crap. But do you want to announce who's going to be on our live show tonight, or do you think we should wait?
I think we should wait and make it a surprise.
I can tell you one of them is really big at Cedar Point. You guys will know who he is as soon as we bring him on. All right. I really hope things work out for Kentucky Kingdom. Currently, they only have 2 roller coasters. Oh, that I like. Oh, yeah, because they're designed with the
Sin guards.
lap bars. Yeah. Let's see. I wonder if that's even going to still happen, Steelwood Riders. They haven't said it's not going to happen, but I wonder if it changes because they might be doing other things throughout the park that they don't want us to see. New changes. So from here till March 20th, see what happens. I didn't hear anything about any events getting canceled, but they didn't hint at anything really.
But what if Herschend wants to use this event as a way to show us good things to come?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know about Ed Hart. Is he? I'm okay. Somebody asked that. I think Ed Hart's going to be part of the transition team this year. So I think Ed Hart's going to be in the background answering any questions and kind of giving him tours and the walk around. But I don't think he's going to be 100% involved anymore. I think he's going to be an advisor, kind of like. God, I keep on bringing up Indiana Beach. Kind of like when Apex kind of kept one of their general managers behind to kind of show Eugene Staples the ropes over at Indiana Beach, which he's still on there, which is interesting. He's actually doing better under Eugene Staples' ownership than he was under Apex, which tells you that their ownership problem had to do with Apex and not the management. I just want to see a lot of changes implemented. I want to see more theming. I want to see them get rid of anything associated with DC and Six Flags, just because when I think of DC, I associate it with Six Flags. I think maybe a dark shooting ride would be kind of cool. I'd like to see that.
Now, I imagine that maybe by 2022, they might have the area by Lightning Run kind of be paved, because over there in that picnic bench area by Cyclist in the area, there is a body coyote in the cement. So they might have that fixed up for next year.
Yeah, I'd like to see nighttime operations too. So maybe more lighting throughout the park. I know, like you said, over by Storm Chaser, the lighting is just horrible over there.
Well, here the problem is, my hood is the reason why they haven't done many things at night is because the fairgrounds closes the parking before nighttime. So
yeah, the fairgrounds is a major problem.
Yeah, if they can get the fairgrounds to open late, that'd be nice. But it's hard to do with them.
The problem I would have coming in as operator would have nothing to do with the park itself. It's the fact I got to deal with the state of Kentucky. I've got to deal with the state fair board. I mean, Ed Hart ran into that building Kentucky Flyer. When he built Kentucky Flyer, he had to do all that crazy crap. And it's like, you guys have, first of all, you guys have a convention center in Louisville, and not a convention center. I'm at the fairgrounds. You have your state fairgrounds in the non-state capital. Why don't you move that to your state capital and then just tear down the fairgrounds out there, and it opens up space for more development, because that area of town needs some development, business development outside of what they have, and I think it would beef up that area. The area would get a little nicer, but that's just me. That's just me talking. Coming from other major cities like Indianapolis and Orlando, you see what they do to areas, and they tear down and rebuild it and improve upon it, and you don't see that kind of work being done in Louisville. And I think if you're rolling into Kentucky Kingdom, no offense to the area if you live around there. I'm not trying to douse it or anything. I understand it's not their fault. But if I go into a park and the first thing I see is dilapidated buildings in a rundown area, I kind of question the status of the park. So I think they need to work on a new front entrance for the park outside of the state
Yeah.
fairgrounds.
And I think too that if they wanted to move the fairgrounds to another city, they could either use that land to really expand the park and make it nice.
Yeah, but I don't see them doing that.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me seeing a state fairgrounds not in the state capital. Most states it's in
Yeah.
the state capital. I mean, it'd be like in Florida them putting the state fairgrounds in Orlando, or everything it's up in Tallahassee,
Yeah.
or Illinois it's in Springfield. It's not in Chicago, so it's just odd the placement that they do certain things in Kentucky. Kentucky does things a little differently than other states, so I imagine Ed Hart will be a Kentucky colonel eventually. So,
I mean,
like,
here's like one.
yeah, we'll talk more tonight. We're waiting on more stuff to come out because right now all the news media is actually interviewing them on more questions. So I imagine we're going to see more stuff come out of the interviews than what we saw in the initial press conference. If you guys ask us, I mean, Herschend Family Entertainment taking this over is a good thing, because if we didn't see them have a new operator, we might not have had an operating season this year. They might have shut down the park completely again, just because it sounded like they were really far behind on their vendor bills and also on the rent. I think the rent hasn't been paid since 2019, so I don't know. Because they don't own the land underneath, they just own the rides above it. So it's basically like anything that happens at the park has to get approved by the city of Louisville and the Kentucky Fair Board. I would love to see the state fairgrounds get moved, because however, the Kentucky would have to have the money to do that, and it's just, I don't know, that whole area is just odd, because you have the fairgrounds, and then right above that you have Louisville University, the fairgrounds, and you have Kentucky Kingdom, the airport. It's just, everything's just jammed into one area. The major obstacle that Herschend's going to have anytime they do anything, that's got to get approved by the state fair board. And that's the reason why, if you guys remember, in 2010 or 2011, that's why the Koch family pulled out, who owns Holiday World, was because they were being told everything that they had to do. And I think the state fair board might be less controlling now than what they were back then. But that caused Holiday World to pull out of it back then, because they didn't want to have somebody else have full control over their own park.
Yeah, hopefully now that we have kind of like a corporate ownership, that they might be willing to budge more stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they did fairly well during the pandemic. If they didn't, I don't think Herschend would be buying out the rights to this. Let me look up something real fast here before we get off of here. I want to bring up Kentucky Kingdom, and I want to kind of show you guys the area that I think possibly could get bought out by Herschend in the future. Okay, I'm going to bring this online here, Zach. Hold on. So you guys see over here, so I'm bringing this up over here, and I'll talk about it more on the show tonight, obviously, but if you look where I'm pointing at the mouse over here, I wish there was a way I could draw over here. Unfortunately, it doesn't let me do this. But you can see from Phillips Lane all the way over here, you have a lot of extra space. The problem is somebody messed up here and put a huge parking lot here because that would have. But I think if they're going to add any type of expansion, it would be right over here, right up to the roadway in over here.
Yeah.
However, this is the layout of Kentucky Kingdom is so odd. I don't know what they plan on doing with it. And that's the major problem that Kentucky Kingdom has is the layout is kind of different from other parks.
Yeah. But I mean, so it's also itself a really strange layout.
Yeah, Silver Dollar City, though, I think they own most of that land over there, don't they?
I mean, so yeah.
Okay. The problem here is that the state fairgrounds owns the land that the park sits on. Let's be honest here. If the state of Kentucky wants to make more money off of this amusement park, they're going to have to give up more of that parking
Yeah.
lot to the park. They're just going to have to. But I think, yeah, like you saw the expansion in the one parking lot, which I don't know what they plan on doing with that. But then you have the other parking lot at the other entrance. Why not let Kentucky Kingdom have that? Just give it over to them. I like the one half that goes from the front entrance all the way over to Freedom Way. Just let them have that whole parking lot to expand on. And then you would have two equally you would have two equal size sections. I don't know. I don't know what their 5-year plan is.
Yeah.
Like the new GM said, they're going to release things as it happens, and they're going to keep the public really informed on stuff. So it's not going to be any secret. Isn't it tomorrow? Isn't it tomorrow that Dollywood is announcing something big tomorrow? Is it tomorrow?
I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
I heard they're doing like some sort of tour. I don't know. I actually know what it is, but I can't say fully what it is. One of those things, but I heard it's happening tomorrow. I think. I'll get with my one source and ask him first. Kentucky Kingdom is fighting an uphill battle, competing against Holiday World, Kings Island. I live in Louisville, rather travel to Santa Claus, Indiana, and Mason, Ohio to get my thrills on. There's another problem. But I think Herschend Family Entertainment, once you guys see what they're going to do, you guys will have a different opinion about Kentucky Kingdom. You'll see more family friendliness. You'll see more things to do. They'll offer more events. They're probably going to add a lot of just interactive things, different interactive elements. I enjoy Silver Dollar City more than Dollywood, but that's just, I guess my whole team kind of like that. But Silver Dollar City just completely takes theming to a whole new level. Dollywood does to a point. However, I'm not a big Dolly Parton fan in terms of like theming a whole park to Dolly Parton, but I think what she's done partnering with Herschend Family Entertainment has done wonders for the park because you're in an area that's primarily a bunch of country music fans, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and by adding Dolly Parton to the image, that's why people go to the park to see Dolly Parton, so it's worked for the park. However, I think their main, like I was saying, I think their main, you could see most of their uniqueness in Silver Dollar City more so, I think. Zach's being quiet.
Yep.
So, yeah, that kind of does it for us for now. Just join us tonight. I'll go ahead and I'll be posting the future live show so you guys could see the time on it. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Join us tonight on Roller Coaster Therapy as we talk Kentucky Kingdom and talk about Cedar Point as well. And we have 2 special guests, so do not miss out. It's going to be live this time, live at 8, 7 Central. And if you guys have any questions, save them for that live show. Have a good one. Thanks.